welcome to the deep dive. We are jumping right into a pretty fascinating psychological breakdown today.
Yeah, it's a really profound shift to analyze.
Right. And for you listening, our mission today is to uncover what we're calling the architecture of peak performance persuasion. Basically, we're decoding the specific psychological and linguistic frameworks that high-level coaches use to just completely rewire the human brain for success.
Exactly, and we are looking at this heavily through the lens of women's sports.
Yes, looking at champions people like tennis icon Serena Williams and Ironman world champion Miranda Carfrae, like how do they handle that crushing weight of a global final?
Because under that kind of pressure, most humans just freeze.
They do. So the big promise today, what you're going to get out of this, is a masterclass in how to dismantle your own limiting blueprint. We're looking at how you can move from a state of learned helplessness to a highly active, pleasure-based destiny.
And we really need to establish some context here first, because this isn't just about feeling good. This isn't your standard, morning affirmation blog post.
Right.
The architecture we're dissecting utilizes neuro-associative conditioning, or NAC. It's about creating a psychological pattern interrupt.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the pattern interrupt, because the way this peak performance framework begins is, well, it's incredibly jarring.
It really is.
It doesn't ease you in at all. It basically slaps you awake. Literally, the material starts with the command to wake up.
Which is, it's aggressive.
Totally. It presents this radical premise that at the elite level, physical talent is essentially a lie. Because everyone in a global final is physically gifted, right?
Right. The actual differentiator is psychological conditioning. You are either a slave to your environment or you are the master of your state.
So why the slap in the face? Why start so aggressively?
From a psychological standpoint, you have to have that radical pattern interrupt. You simply can't change a deeply ingrained mindset if you don't first break the existing cognitive loop.
Yeah.
People walk around in these subconscious trances. The aggressive wake-up acts as a shock to the system to snap the brain out of autopilot.
And once that trance is broken, the framework immediately drops you into assessment mode.
Yeah.
You know what they call the Triad audit.
Yes, the internal saboteur check.
Right. And I love the Triad audit because it's so mechanical. You can apply this to your own life right now. It analyzes your current state across 3 specific pillars.
The first one being physiology.
Exactly. It asks, is your posture slumped in defeat? Are you physically reinforcing failure? I caught myself doing this while prepping for today's dive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was reading this section and realized I was completely hunched over my desk. My body language was basically telling my brain I was exhausted.
What's fascinating here is that those physical cues aren't just symptoms of how you feel, they're active mechanisms. A slumped posture actively produces the neurochemicals of defeat.
Wow. Okay, so that's physiology. The second pillar is focus.
Right. Where is your mind directing its energy?
The text specifically asks if you're obsessing over the poisonous possibility of loss. If your focus is locked on fear, your nervous system prepares for impact, not victory.
And then there's the third pillar, which is language. What specific words are you using to describe your goals? Are you using weak words like should or try?
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The way champions like Serena Williams shatter these limiting patterns. They don't just sit in the locker room and softly visualize winning.
No, not at all.
They use what's called the vocabulary of victory. They use incantations to command their biology. And the actual style of the linguistics here it's rhythmic, it's staccato.
It relies heavily on power verbs.
Right. Words like shatter, ignite, command, explode, anchor, claim.
Notice how those words sound. They literally force a release of air, engaging the diaphragm.
Wow.
But there's also the visual element if you're reading this kind of conditioning material.
The strategic bolding.
Exactly. Strategic bolding is used to ensure key psychological anchors stick directly to the subconscious. It bypasses your working memory.
It's an uncompromising honesty, too. It forces you to stop making excuses. It throws out try and replaces it with the non-negotiable must.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, to the 6 human needs.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
When an athlete shifts from I should to I must, they are fulfilling their need for certainty and their need for significance simultaneously. It changes the pressure from a threat into a challenge.
Which is how Miranda Carfrae ignites her focus, right?
Yeah.
Directing energy away from fear and toward total appreciation.
Exactly. But you can't just change your words and expect magic. You need leverage.
The pain versus pleasure leverage.
Yes.
This part of the framework is brutal. It walks you through the total pain exercise. You are asked to consider the absolute unbearable consequences of staying in your limiting blueprint.
Over a 10-year reality.
Yes. You have to imagine yourself a decade from now, still paralyzed by the same doubt, watching other people claim the podium while you just, and this line gets me, while you sit in the stands of your own life.
It's devastating imagery.
It is unbearable.
Because it leverages your brain's natural aversion to social exclusion. The nervous system will do anything to reject that future.
And then right at that point of maximum pain, it contrasts that with the total pleasure of a pleasure-based destiny.
To glory of the identity shift.
Right, where pressure isn't a threat anymore, it's the necessary fuel for explosive output. Putting those extremes side by side creates inescapable psychological leverage. You literally have to decide right then, are you a spectator or a champion?
It forces a binary choice, and it does this using neuro-linguistic programming techniques, NLP.
Like reframing.
Yes. In the psychology of the arena, you must reframe every setback. To a champion, there's no such thing as failure. There is only feedback.
It's just data.
Exactly. It removes the emotional sting. And then there's the metaphor of burning the boats.
Oh, from Hernan Cortez, right.
Right. The idea that to succeed, there can be absolutely no option for retreat, no plan B.
Why does that work neurologically? Because wouldn't a safety net make you feel better?
Consciously, maybe, but neurologically, a plan B splits your focus. It keeps your brain's default mode network active. That's the part that daydreams and calculates alternative scenarios.
So burning the boats shuts that down.
Completely. It forces your nervous system into hyperfocus. You have to anchor your certainty, use your breath and posture, and explode out of survival mode.
Which brings us to the actual identity shift. The incantations.
This is crucial.
Because these aren't just quiet thoughts. They are powerful I am statements that you must speak out loud.
To speak it into existence.
Literally. The instructions say to stand up, breathe deep, and command your nervous system. Things like, I am the architect of my own excellence.
I am transforming pressure into power.
I will dominate this moment with absolute certainty.
When you shout those incantations, you are creating a closed auditory and physical feedback loop. You are physically aligning your biology with this new, empowering identity.
But this raises an important question.
Which is how you actually make it stick in the real world.
Right. Making someone feel motivated in their living room is great. But how does that translate to the arena?
You need the massive action bridge.
The ultimate goal is initiating a massive action plan, or MAP. Success requires it. You cannot just leave the site of this massive psychological realization without building immediate momentum.
If you don't act, the brain just prunes that new neural pathway away.
Which is why the framework gives you the 2-minute task. And this is for you, listening right now. You need to identify the single biggest limiting story you tell yourself.
And shatter it.
Yes, shatter it right now by writing down one non-negotiable action you will take today to prove it wrong. Something that takes less than 2 minutes.
It provides undeniable proof to your nervous system that the identity shift is real. It creates immediate momentum.
And that leads directly to the climax of this entire persuasion architecture, the call to destiny.
It's a high-energy demand for a committed decision.
The time for trying is over. This is your moment of decision. It's a final cutting off of every possibility except your victory.
Yeah.
You are commanded to claim your destiny.
It locks the door from the inside. It's a complete system of transformation.
So what does this all mean for us? If we pull it all together, we've gone from a radical pattern, interrupt that metaphorical slap, to wake up. We ran a triad audit on our physiology, focus, and language.
We restructured our vocabulary with power verbs.
Right. We leveraged the unbearable pain of sitting in the stands of our own lives against the pleasure of the podium. We reframed failure, burned the boats, shouted our incantations, and crossed the massive action bridge. It's a complete roadmap for rewiring your brain.
It really is, and it's incredibly empowering when you use it intentionally. But I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder after we wrap up here.
Let's hear it.
We've just spent this time analyzing how consciously applying this architecture can reprogram your mind for peak performance. But think about the mechanics, the linguistic patterns, the strategic bolding, the extreme pain versus pleasure levers.
Yeah.
If these tools are this predictably powerful at rewiring human behavior, how often are they being used on you by marketers or politicians or social media algorithms every single day?
Oh, wow.
How often is your limiting blueprint actually being rewritten by someone else without you even realizing it?
Man, that's a heavy question to sit with. Who is really architecting your mind? Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope you take this framework and use it to master your own state. And do not forget to take your 2-minute massive action today. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.